video is sponsored by Squarespace.
I just got a box in the mail, a very exciting box, because it is filled with glads. And yet again, it may seem very, very late to be getting a box of glads, but I have a plan. So let's open this up and I'll talk to you a little bit about what we've been doing with glads here on the farm. It's taped up very well. So in this box, I have 1,200 Gladiolus from LM Bolle and Son. This is a Canadian company that we have been buying our glads from for a couple of years. They are out in Ontario and they aren't only for wholesale. You can also buy from them retail. They have a really good website that's easy to use. And the thing that I like about them for buying is that they come in a couple different sizes. They come in the jumbo size bulb, big, beautiful. We've bought them before for last year when we planted some up in the front to be big and decorative. And then they have the #1 size and the #2 size. And so the jumbo's big, the #1, #2, they're getting smaller as those numbers go. And when I'm buying them to grow for cut flowers, I want to get the smallest bulb possible because glads are a pain in the butt to work with as a cut flower because they look so beautiful in the garden. They're big, showy, they have these massive flowers. It's a big, huge stem. But when we're putting them into a market bouquet, having this, 3-4 foot stem of flowers isn't useful at all for us. So the smaller the bulb, the smaller the flowering stem is gonna be. So we've been buying the #2s for the last couple of years and they've been working out really well for us. This year I went to buy these pretty late in the season and I'll show you why. The reason is I already have a bunch of glads going. We have been buying the glads in bulk and then succession planting them every 2 weeks, planting more glads in a crate. We put them in a crate because it's a lot easier to work with the crates and they grow quite well. We plant them in a similar way to the tulip bulbs where they're just really, really tight together. And here in our area, zone 5, the glads just don't really perennialize very well. So it's not like if we had them in the ground that it'd be any easier and they come back. One of the things that I realized at the end of the season with having all of these in the crates where they'd bloomed and they finished and they were just kind of sitting out in the field because we hadn't bothered to clean them up is because they're in a crate, it's actually really easy for me to bring these inside to get them out of the cold so that they could survive the winter. Other people in my area, when they plant glads in their garden, they let them grow, bloom, the foliage die back, and then in the fall they dig up the corms, they put them into storage. In the spring they bring them back out. It's a pain in the butt. I wasn't gonna do that, but I was like, well, I can pick up these crates and just stack them in my garage for the winter. And so that is what we did. And then we brought out all the leftovers. And they kind of had a little bit of a succession because we slowly brought them out. As they got watered, they started growing. So we actually have our first few successions just in our leftover glads from last year. And so I don't know exactly how this is gonna work. They're not growing as large and prolific as they were last year. Part of it could be just what the weather has been, but no matter what, it'll be fine because these first few successions here on the farm of glads, they normally bloom kind of in the peak of summer and we have so many flowers at that time anyways that having glads isn't a make or break it. But this week, I'm out of bulbs from last year. It's time for me to be planting more because now is the time that I plant them to be able to get them for the fall. And in the fall is when I really could appreciate them. And the other nice thing about having them in these crates is that if I want, right beside me over here is a greenhouse that isn't currently covered up. Doesn't need to be covered up in the summer because it's not cold, but if I have my glads in crates in this greenhouse and then cooler weather starts to hit, I I can cover up this greenhouse and get them to grow later and have them available later to, you know, be able to hit that end of season time when things start to be like, oh, what's gonna make it? What's not? So it's gonna do really well for us. But let's go look at all the varieties that I have inside my box. So many bags, so many bulbs. The other thing that I'm really excited about with this order is because I was so late in the year in ordering these, when I went to order, they actually were pretty sold out of stuff. They didn't really have very much available. And I reached out to them and I contacted them, and they said that they actually had most of the varieties available, but in a size that they don't normally sell. They had it in the number 3 size. This is the size that they themselves grow, and they are available for sale, but you have to talk to them specifically. So all of these are even smaller than the number 2s that I've been growing in the past, which I'm really hopeful means that the flowers are going to be even more petite, and that they're going to work out really well. So I'm excited to be experimenting with this size.
And they're cheaper.
Yep, they're cheap. Let's see, how much did this whole order cost? Like, this is the thing about glads. This is why I'm like, I'm not gonna dig them up and save them, because this entire order of 1,200 glads with shipping and taxes and everything only cost me $236. So, you know, that leaves a lot of space for making money. You know, when you consider labor on how much it would be to dig up 1,200 of these and store them over the winter, $200 is really easy to justify. So I'm really excited about a bunch of these varieties because they're varieties that I've never grown before. A few of these varieties were things that they don't normally have listed on their website. And so one of them, my favorite color flower is green, and so this is Keo. And this is a beautiful roughly green, which I'm really excited to see. I've grown the green glads before, and I just love them. I love the look of them. They're really fun to work with. So it'll be fun. See how this one compares to the other varieties that I've normally done. Then we got 100 Performer. And this is a really pretty purple, like a deep, rich purple color. You know, I wanted a whole mix of colors. You know, I wasn't necessarily looking for a specific color palette so much as I was looking for a variety of colors. So, you know, purple is always good, but especially like going into those fall colors, having those deeper, richer colors are always really fun to work with. So I think this one's gonna go really good with my darker colored sunflowers, my red sunflowers, my plum sunflowers that I always have for the fall. And then I have 100 Bananarama, and this one I've grown before. This is a really pretty yellow. It's like, it's not bright yellow, it's more of like a richer, deeper yellow. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, no, this one's really good and it grows really well. I've always been really happy with this. So having 100 this, I'm excited for. Then I have 100 Tibet. And this is just a really classic, really pretty white. It's hard to go wrong with white. The Gladiolus, you know, they're a classic garden flower. I love how they come in the really bright colors. I love that like punch of color they can add to the garden. I really like using them in fun, bright, colorful ways. But there's something about a white glad that just looks really clean and really sophisticated. So I'm always interested in what I can do with white glads. You know, I can work with them in a little bit more formal way than how I normally work with the glads. So that's a good one. Then there is 100 Alfalfa, and this looks really cool. This is like a nice rich purple, and then it has like a tongue that's almost like a raspberry burgundy color. So, you know, my favorite glads of all are the ones that are multicolors. But for this to be multicolor with such deep, dramatic colors, This I'm really excited to see blooming in person, and also to work with. And the way I was saying, the other purple is going to be exciting for the fall. This is going to be a fun one to have. And then I have 100 Stormy, and this is an orange, like a nice rich orange that then has some like white color in the throat. So yet again, like one of those ones that kind of has like a little bit of variegation, a little bit of, you know, variation in the flowers. I like, glads remind me almost of like orchids. So even when they're just one solid color, like I like the drama and the impact of it, but I am partial to those two tones. So this is fun. And then another multicolor variety. I have 100 Sunbelt, and this looks just gorgeous. I think this might actually be my favorite. Though, well, I mean the green ones, I always like the green ones, but this looks really cool. It's kind of like a pinky purple color, and then it has like yellow tones in it. Just a really stunning contrast on those two colors. So I'm really excited to see what this is gonna look like. I mean the pictures of this just look incredible. So I'm excited. And then I have 100 Orleans, and this is just a really pretty baby pink, just very feminine, very classic. You know, this will be really fun. This will be really fun to play with. You know, especially if like, because these are going to be fall, right? If I have some of these kind of softer colored fillers, sometimes in the fall I can get some silver and white going to then have this beautiful baby pink to go with it. I think I could do some really fun stuff. And then I have 50 Nova Zombla, and this is another really pretty white. You know, you can't go wrong with the whites. Having lots of this is good.
Those ones look like they're ready to go in the ground.
Yeah, I mean all of these, it's late in the season, right? I store our glads, the way I'm able to succession plant them is we store them in the cooler. So because they're in the cooler, they don't really start growing. They're kind of just, you know, in stasis. So when I pull them out and I plant them, that's like when their 90, 100 days of growing starts. So they work really well to be able to stagger them and have that nicely staggered bloom time. You know, we are getting close. You know, like I said, it's like 100 days. Some of these varieties take even longer. So we are at the point now where, like, you know, I'll do it like a big succession. I'll probably plant about 60% of these, like after I show these to you, so that I have a big flush in the fall, and then in like a week or two, then I'll do another planting, and that's kind of it. You know, by into July is when everything should be planted, or else, you know, you're not really guaranteed to get flowers. And like I said, I have the greenhouse, you know, so I'm pushing it even later than maybe, you know, people should in my area. Okay, then I have 100 Belvedere, and I have no idea what this is gonna look like, because when I looked this up online, there was only 2 pictures, and one was a really pretty coral and the other was a beautiful raspberry, but those are 2 very different flowers. So I don't know, this isn't a very common variety apparently. So this one's gonna be a surprise. I'll get to see what this looks like when it blooms. But no picture to share with you guys because we have no idea what it's gonna be. Okay, and then I have another 50 bag of the Nova Zombla, which was that white. They're just that little bit bigger. They're probably they're a number 2, whereas the rest of them, this is actually good. Let me show you this. This is perfect for sizing. So this is a number 2, and then this is a number 3. So these bags that they're sending, like the number 2 only fits about 50, whereas the number 3 fits 100 in the bag. So you can definitely eyeball see the difference. But, you know, size doesn't always matter. It's the bloom that counts, right? Okay, and then we have Fairy Tale Pink. We have 100 of this, and this is, the color on this is just gorgeous. It's almost like a magenta pink. It's one of those colors that's hard for cameras to actually pick up how deep and rich and beautiful it is. So this one, I'm really excited to see this blooming in person. And then the last two varieties, these I've grown before. So 100 Jester. This is a yellow, which then has some red details in it. You know, this will be perfect for the fall. Those kind of reds and yellows always sell really well at that time of year. And you know, like I said, I like the two color varieties. And then finally, maybe this is my favorite, 100 Green Star. Another one of those green ones. This I've grown before. It looks so green. It blooms super green. I really love this one. Though I gotta say, looking at the pictures, reminding myself of the blooms, maybe I'm more excited for the other green. The other green kind of has those roughly shaped to the flowers, where this is like a little bit more simplistic bloom. So you know, it'll be fun to have both of those. Well, that's pretty exciting. There's actually 1,300 glads in here. It looks, when I was looking at the notes on the receipt, it said that they didn't charge me for the Green Star one. So there's even more than I thought. You know, it's gonna be exciting to have so many of those. Glads are one of those flowers that people either love or are like, about. And I know that every time I kind of like share them online, there's so many people who just absolutely love them, who come out, and other people who just hate them. They have bad memories associated with them, or they have good memories where they were in grandma's garden. I always really like seeing them in the garden. I think they're very impactful for how simple they are to grow. It's always kind of shocking that these tiny little bulbs turn into these big, huge plants. You know, I really enjoy having them. And I especially enjoy how easy they are to grow as a cut flower here on the farm. Thanks again to our sponsor, Squarespace. One of the reasons why I love shopping with LM Bolle is because they have a website that makes it really easy for me to order from. And Squarespace is a company who can help you get that for your business too.
Squarespace is an all-in-one website platform for entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online. Whether you're just starting out or managing a growing brand, Squarespace makes it easy to create a beautiful website, engage with your audience, and sell anything from products to content to time, all in one place, all on your terms. I love how easy they make it for me to build a website. Squarespace Blueprint AI is a guided design system that helps you build your dream website. And Fluid Engine, the next generation website editor, lets you customize every design detail. Whether you're building an online store or offering courses, Squarespace has you and me covered. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/youcan'teatthegrass to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.